family plot. It was a dumping ground. When workers died during the harvest, they were not sent home. They were buried in the dirt beneath the temporary housing built to hold them. The ledger listed names, dates, and simple tallies of bodies interred under the soil. The scope of it was staggering. This was not one man forgotten by accident. It was a systematic erasure of human lives to keep the machinery of the harvest moving. Margaret closed the book, the sound of paper hitting paper sharp in the quiet room. I looked at the map, then at my own hands, realizing the house I called home was built on a foundation of buried, nameless casualties. I drove to my uncle's house the next morning, the ledger tucked under my arm like a confession. I laid the maps out on his kitchen table, pointing to the burial markings beneath the floorboards of my bedroom. He did not look at the book. He kept his back to me, staring out the window at the cornfields. I asked him if he knew, if he had ever felt the weight of what lay under those joists. He spun around, his face tight, his eyes avoiding mine. "Drop it," he said. His voice was thin, sharp as a rusted blade. I pressed him, asking how many more graves were hidden across the county, but he slammed his hand down on the counter. The sound echoed through the kitchen. He told me that some things stay buried for a reason and that digging them up would only destroy the living. He walked toward the door, refusing to meet my gaze, his movements stiff and practiced. He had spent his entire life walking over that ground, knowing exactly what the dirt held, and he had chosen the silence over the truth. He pointed at the door, his jaw set in a line of absolute refusal. He did not want to hear the names of the dead. He wanted the past to stay where it was, rotting quietly beneath the floorboards of our history. The final report from the forensics lab arrived in a plain manila envelope. I sat on my porch and read the findings. The man had not died of old age or illness. The skeletal analysis revealed a severe, crushing chest injury. The ribs were fractured inward, a clear mark of heavy, sustained pressure. He had been pinned. I closed my eyes and the memory of my childhood bedroom returned, sharp and unyielding. I remembered lying in that bed as an 8-year-old, staring down at the floorboards while faint, hollow knocks tapped back at me from the dark. I had told my parents about the sounds, but they insisted it was just the house settling, just the winter wind in the pipes. There were no pipes under that floor. There was only the man. Trapped in the dirt, his chest collapsed under the weight of the house above him. He had spent his final hours in that crawl space, breathing in the cold earth, waiting for someone to hear the sound of his struggle. He had died in agonizing silence, his life snuffed out by the very floor I slept on every night. The realization hit me with the force of a physical blow. For 18 years, I had rested my head inches above his final, desperate gasps. He had been there the whole time, waiting for someone to acknowledge he existed. The funeral was not an event for the public. It was a cold, quiet morning in the chapel. The air inside felt thin, carrying the scent of damp stone and winter frost. 5 of us stood in the aisle, watching as the casket was lowered into the earth. It was a small, pine box, heavy with the weight of a century. I looked down at the metal marker. It read, "UN known laborer" in simple, stamped letters. The wind cut through the gaps in the chapel walls, rattling the glass, but the ground remained still. I thought about the decades he spent beneath my bedroom floor, ignored by the house and the people who walked over him. Here, in this plot, he was finally fixed in place, no longer a hidden secret of the foundation. I stepped forward and cast a handful of soil over the lid. The sound was dull, final, and heavy. There were no grand speeches, only the silence of the cemetery and the realization that he was no longer waiting for a response. We had given him a name of sorts, a boundary, and a place to stop moving. As the earth settled around the pine, I felt the tension in my own chest ease. He was resting. The world had finally acknowledged that he had walked this earth, labored in these fields, and suffered in the dark. And that was enough to hold the silence at bay. Back at the house, I replaced the floor. The new wood sounds solid when I knock on it. There is no hollow echo, no rattle of loose boards, and no vibration against my palms. The house feels different now, anchored by the absence of that hidden grave. Yet, I still stand in the doorway of my bedroom and listen to the silence. It is not empty. History does not vanish on its own. It is erased by the new walls we build over the forgotten, polished over by time and the insistence that what we cannot see does not exist. I walk through the rooms and wonder how many other homes stand on similar ground. How many of us are sleeping on the names of those the world decided to bury and forget? The ground beneath this house is still there, holding its secrets. I look at the floor and see only wood. But I know the truth of the foundation. We build our lives on top of the silent, and we rarely stop to ask what lies beneath the surface. I wonder if the earth ever truly lets go of what it has been forced to hold.